I'm Kim Bo-kyung. Welcome to our special coverage of South Korea's presentation to the BIE General Assembly as part of the country's bid to host the World Expo. South Korea is currently in the running to host the 2030 World Expo with the southeastern city of Busan up against the Saudi Arabian capital, Riyadh, as well as Rome in Italy. Soon in France, South Korea's fourth presentation for the bid will take place in front of 179 BIE members. The Yoon administration, along with business tycoons and other cultural figures, is putting its utmost efforts into hosting the expo, and that includes President Yoon Suk-yeol's English speech. Arirang TV has live coverage of the presentation that's due to begin in less than 10 minutes. Throughout the special program, we'll be joined by Andrew Lim, Research and Innovation Attaché at the Government of Quebec in Seoul. Andrew, welcome to the show.
It's good to be here again, Bo-kyung. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. Now, Andrew, we're just minutes away from the presentation getting underway. In the meantime, allow me to ask you some questions. First of all, President Yoon Suk-yeol will attend the BIE General Assembly and take part in South Korea's fourth presentation. Why is this fourth presentation so important?
So, I've been following this Busan Expo, World Expo for quite some time, and this fourth presentation is actually extremely important. One of the reasons it's very important is because nothing's fully set yet. At some times, even like on the second or third presentation, quite often you could kind of see the front runner, people kind of drop out, etc. But we're already at the fourth presentation and no one has officially actually dropped out. So it's still a game that anybody could win. So that's extremely, extremely important. And also, this BIE, all the members are actually in attendance. It's not like that happens every day because some people get sick, there are substitutions, et cetera, but actually everyone's in attendance. So that is extremely important. Then you could actually talk to everybody, get to know them better, network, and also present your case actually in person, which is, I think, extremely important. And also the final vote. Everybody probably wonders because, the BIE, all the members, they get one vote and it is actually anonymous and it happens in November. So it's June already. I can't believe it's June already. Yes, and it's soon July. So November is just a stone throws away. So in those kind of perspectives, it's extremely important.
Right. So it's a great opportunity that we need to definitely seize. President Yoon himself is going to give a speech as part of the presentation, and keywords in the speech are expected to be future, promise, repayment, and solidarity. What's the advantage of having the president speak, and what can we expect from those keywords?
So, I probably mentioned this before. A head of state speaking at BIE, it's not unheard of, but it's not common. Not only that, yes, President Yoon, he's very smart and all that, but obviously his native language is not English.
Right.
But he's still willing to put himself in the line of, I guess, some could say praise, but also criticism. Yes, many head of states, I would imagine, might send their deputies, ministers who are more fluent with maybe even French or English. But he stepped up and he's like, I'm going to do this myself.
Right.
And that, I feel, it's a big deal. Because if you look at the other competitors like Mohammed bin Salman, MBS in Saudi Arabia, he's also present at BIE. He brought a large delegation as well. And also other contenders such as Italy, also the president came as well. So in that perspective, they're there, but they're not presenting like themselves. So I think in that perspective, it's a big deal. You see the head of state taking leadership and actually presenting, and that's an extremely, extremely big deal. And you also mentioned some of the key words, things like promise, repayment, solidarity. I think it's really cool how Korea kind of sums up things, like K-branding, for example. So things like promise of it shows credibility. Korea is a safe country, we're stable. Yes, we're a democracy, things change, but we could keep this promise and we have a history of that. So this kind of wording with promise, repayment, solidarity, I think it really resonates these days. Because, for example, solidarity too, we'll probably talk about it a bit later, but it shows everyone's together. That's the conglomerates, the private sectors, the individual citizens. You also mentioned there's some Korean ethnic people in France. They're all coming together. I think this really shows Korea is one country kind of leading together to come to this result. I think that's extremely important.
It's definitely good to see how we all can unite, right?
Yes.
Right. The presentation, actually, Andrew, will also feature global star Psy of Gangnam Style and videos from famous celebrities like South Korean soprano Sumi Jo and Karina, a member of the girl group aespa. We could say that South Korea is really using its soft power to its fullest. Do you believe such soft power will be able to play a crucial role?
Yes, absolutely. If you think about this kind of exhibition, it's all about soft power. Obviously, if we have to talk about soft power, there's also hard power like weapons, economy, which is good too. But I mean, you can't run an exhibition with weapons, obviously. And I'm sure everybody probably knows soft power. I mean, Korea is in the center stage these days. I could name all the famous things that you could probably, the entire world would know, like Gangnam Style, that's a big one. There's BTS, Dynamite, all these things. But what I want to get for especially Psy and Gangnam Style is, if you think about it, Gangnam Style was released around in 2012. And I don't know about you, but for me, music generally for me it's very nostalgic. If you hear some music from some time, you're like, oh, I remember this time. I remember like, what I was doing or the global economy or how things were. If you could remember back in 2012-ish, which was kind of this became global, it was good times for almost everybody. There were no big interstate wars. There were much less global rivalry, for example. Smartphones were coming up. Exactly. Smartphones and all the digital revolution. Everyone was winning, economy is doing great. So I think this brings another aspect that people don't think about. When they think about Psy and they actually see this, sure, they'll think K-pop, but they're like, hey, I remember this good time. And it brings that really good memory, that feeling. I think that will, people might not think about this, but I think that will definitely go a long way. I think this is something that people may not think about. But I think maybe the Korean government has thought of that because there's so many other artists you could have brought. But there's a reason they brought Psy.
Right, interesting point of view. And we need to also tap on how business tycoons are doing their utmost efforts as well. And I heard Samsung Electronics installed a huge billboard in central Paris, while Hyundai Motor promotional videos have already exceeded 100 million views in total. Could you tell us more about these efforts and the effects?
Yes, so I guess you're very well informed. You even know the numbers. Yes, it's true. Actually, I saw the videos myself, obviously, because I'm interested in the World Expo and international relations. They're actually really well made.
Oh.
Yes, they're extremely well made. But I mean, Korea is well known for their creative industries, their CG. Korea, it's a testament to that. So for example, we could imagine when Samsung promotes Busan Expo and tries to help Korea, yes, they will do what I would call conglomerate diplomacy.
Conglomerate diplomacy.
So for example, obviously, Samsung high-level people would meet high-level people. Like for example, Samsung might go to Mr. Lee will go to Mexico City, for example, might meet the AMLO, the president. And of course, they'll talk about business, how Samsung could invest and all those great things. But of course, he'll mention Busan Expo.
Right.
Please help Busan Expo vote. Like I said, it's anonymous, you never know. But if someone like Samsung, the head, would say, hey, can you please, kind of do me a solid kind of vote, it goes a long way. Because then maybe, hey, you could kind of negotiate. If you vote, maybe you could open up a factory. These kind of leverage is something that I don't think many other countries have, let alone the competitors. Yes, like as I mentioned, Saudi, Italy, they have big companies too, but not like Samsung, everyone would know. They use Galaxy phones, etc. And Hyundai is doing very well too. You also mentioned Hyundai, yes, many people watched it. And also how they are promoting the bid to Busan Expo is probably people saw this on the news. They are using their cars, obviously, and not just any car. They're not just using like Grandeur or whatever, because they want to promote sustainability as well. That's a big part of this bid. So they are using their electric cars, Ioniq 5s and 6s, the new ones that look really cool. They park it in front of like Eiffel Tower, have the Busan Expo all like painted, and they drive the Korean delegation around. I think this kind of like coming together, unity. This is something I would definitely vote for. I think these are some of the things that other countries really cannot do. So, and also one more thing is because these conglomerates have presences around the world, I probably mentioned this before, but they kind of divvy up the countries. Okay, Samsung, you have great presence here and here and here, and you have good relationships. Then you take these 30 countries. LG, you take, for example, 20, and they take 30. And sometimes companies could say no, but they're very much willing.
Right, they're willing to do this, right?
Yes, that's a big deal.
Right. Now, we have mainly talked about big figures up until now, but each individual's efforts definitely matter too, right? And that being said, President Yoon met with a group of Korean nationals and friends and reportedly asked for their support for Busan Expo bid. In what way do you believe they could contribute?
I think people talking about more word of mouth, I think it does still play a big role. And in from my research, there's still a significant Korean diaspora in France. I think it's around 20 to 30,000. I'm actually Canadian, so if you compare it to Canada, there's 200,000. But still, 20, 30,000 is not like little.
Right.
And yes, they may have their own restaurants, whatnot, but still, some of these people have influence. So they talk about to their friends, and their friends talk about to people. You know, it's the connected world these days. They might put on Instagram, it might become a huge hit, TikTok, et cetera, et cetera. So I think having individuals in that country kind of promoting it, I think that's a big deal, because it really, like I said, shows unity. If these people are willing to do this much for their own country,
right.
If we host it here, how amazing will it be?
Right. I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it seems the presentation has just started, so why don't we take a look at it first and then come back to our
and work with us.
They say our village might be underwater in a few years. Where are we going to live then?
I want to build a program that helps craft grow better. So I want to go the but we run out of power.
I wait for hours for my mom to get back from the hospital. Maybe those birds in the sky could bring the drugs instead.
I like electric cars because they don't give out bad things, but Daddy says we can't treat them at our home.
Our wells are all dried up. We have nothing to drink.
How are we going to put out those fires?
My grandma can't walk well, so it'd be great if she could see her doctor on screen.
I want to learn new things that will change my life.
We'll all need a job when we grow up.
S'il vous plaît. Oui, nous sommes désolés. La présentation a démarré sans que je donne le feu vert, car la délégation de Corée rentre dans la salle, et c'est ensuite que nous pourrons lancer la présentation du projet de Busan.
Right, so from now on, the South Korea's fourth presentation is just about to start. And if South Korea successfully attracts the Expo, it will become the 12th country globally.
À la présentation de l'Expo, du projet de l'Expo 2030 Busan, Corée. Et j'ai le plaisir de donner la parole à la délégation de l'Expo. Je vous en prie.
Too many people still don't know that it looks like a paradise here. But we're under threat, and we really need people to hear us out and work with us. They say our village might be underwater in a few years. Where are we going to live then?
I want to build a program that helps craft grow better. So I want to go the but we run out of power.
I wait for hours for my mom to get back from the hospital. Maybe those birds in the sky could bring the drugs instead.
I like electric cars because they don't give out bad things, but Daddy says we can't treat them at our home.
Our wells are all dried up. We have nothing to drink.
How are we going to put out those fires?
My grandma can't walk well, so it'd be great if she could see her doctor on screen.
I want to learn new things that will change my life.
We'll all need a job when we grow up.
I'm on the next level. Yeah, 절대적으로 지켜 내 손을 놓지 마라.
These are some desperate calls from our friends who are worried for their village, their country, and their future. How are they going to cope with all that? So, dear friends, here we begin a new journey, a new quest to find answers for your future, for our future. You are the future of our planet, so you can be the judge of all these ideas and tell us which ones will work and give us a new and different future. And here are our participants.
Hello everyone, my name is Jae-Sang Park, but to many, I'm better known as Sai. Distinguished delegates, thank you. Distinguished delegates, thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this meaningful, honorable event. I'm here today to introduce to you the World Expo 2030 Busan and why Busan is the one and only optimum city to host the Expo. Being here in Paris brings back fond memories from 2012 when I did a flash mob of my song Gangnam Style with 20,000 people in Trocadero Square facing the Eiffel Tower. It was truly the biggest event, and I realized even though we all spoke different languages, everyone came together as one. As a musician, I've experienced that K-pop has a power to unite, transform, and transcend boundaries. Like this performance, I believe the World Expo 2030 Busan will unite us all. Some 22 years ago, I made a debut as a singer-songwriter in Korea. Out of the norm and entirely unconventional, both musically and physically, my debut came as a shock to many. Despite the challenges that I've been through, I never gave up, just like Korea never did 70 years ago. With that Korean spirit, I had the willpower and the unwavering drive to create without conforming. Luckily, people gradually began to like my carefree style. While the Korean entertainment industry is known for its competitive and meticulous nature, Korea also embraces a culture that values freedom. With such freedom, we've been able to reach fans globally with K-pop as well as K-drama and K-cinema. We love to mix different genres to create something truly unique, like our best-known meal, bibimbap. With Parasite and Squid Game, we were able to deliver to the audience a mix of suspense, comedy, and social commentary. We tell a story in a big ball of various elements mixed in well, just like our delicious bibimbap. And all the pieces come together to create empathy for people all around the world. From the music you listen to the shows you watch, smartphones, cars, and TVs, Korean influence is deeply rooted in your everyday lives. And that influence comes from a country that once struggled to feed its people, but now has grown this much. Can you imagine the vibrant energy such a country can bring to the Expo? At the World Expo 2030 Busan, we will showcase a transformative power of our culture and technology. We will demonstrate our commitment to global cooperation and innovation. We will share our journey, our growth, and our vision for a sustainable future. Indeed, World Expo 2030 Busan will serve as a global platform where governments, industry experts, academics, and citizens gather to exchange ideas and find solutions for our shared progress. This is why I'm so excited about the World Expo 2030 Busan, because I believe It's about the things we share, our shared future, our shared challenges, and the unlimited opportunities we have before us. In case for someone who's having a hard time recognizing me, let me wear this before I finish. Distinguished delegates, I'm so grateful even after 10 plus years, my song Gangnam Style still can bring people together whenever it's on. I believe the World Expo 2030 Busan will do the same, bring the whole world together and shape a better future for all of us. Thank you so much.
Bonjour mesdames et messieurs, je suis Dominique Perrault, je suis un architecte français, je vis et je travaille à Paris. Pour moi, l'architecture a toujours fait partie de la nature. Le naturel avec l'artificiel, ce ne sont pas des contraires, c'est notre monde. Notre monde est fait de nature et d'artificiel. La recherche de l'harmonie entre l'ancien et le nouveau s'inscrit dans les mêmes principes. La vie humaine se poursuit toujours dans le contexte de son environnement. À cet égard, Busan est une belle ville, une ville captivante, une ville où il y a la montagne, où il y a la mer, où l'architecture traditionnelle et le paysage urbain et moderne, les ports industriels et une nature magnifique convergent harmonieusement. C'est ici, au milieu de ce mélange magnétique, que les espaces du futur prendront forme. Continuons tous à soutenir cette exposition extraordinaire, exceptionnelle, un événement qui a le pouvoir de changer notre avenir, de transformer notre futur.
Distinguished delegates, I am Yang Yujin, the chief architect of our proposed World Expo site. Today, I would like to discuss the World Expo 2030 Busan as a space that presents innovative solutions for the future. Our Expo vision is inspired by the long-standing Korean tradition of harmonizing nature, humanity, and technology. Here, as you can see, the hanok, a traditional Korean house built with natural materials, such as soil, wood, and stone, fully embodies this concept of harmony. It influences the central themes guiding our World Expo planning, including the design of the Expo site. The North Port of Busan used to be a busy international seaport before it fell behind the waves of new industries. The area is now left with disused buildings and abandoned machines. Our plan is to turn these remains of old industrialization into a space for sustainable life where nature, humanity, and technology coexist in harmony, a site of great transformation where we will share our vision for our new Earth. That is, our space design concept for the World Expo 2030 Busan, Re-Earth. The Expo site will be a living spatial embodiment of the key themes of the World Expo 2030 Busan on eco-friendly, carbon-neutral space. Across the site, you will see dynamic porous patterns that form gaps and openings, amid layers of concrete, so living forms can coexist with humanity. All structures will be built using as much sustainable materials as possible. The Expo site will be powered 100% by green energy, and transport will encompass eco-friendly mobility like urban air mobility and hydrogen vehicles. The waterfront, the interface between our site and the sea, will be a model of carbon neutrality and our cutting-edge technologies for harmony with nature. we want this special space to be a place for caring and sharing, where all nations around the world come together, discuss our challenges, and share solutions. If nations so desire, they may organize joint exhibitions, fostering a spirit of unity and cooperation. Additionally, we are thrilled to present the world's first UN Habitat floating city. This groundbreaking edition presents yet another innovative solution. The T-Square will be open to all, including individual creators, to contribute to their ideas, because we want our expo to be truly inclusive and welcoming. And perhaps most importantly, the legacy of our collaboration will not simply disappear when the expo closes. For instance, once the expo is over, the repurposed silo in the North Port will become the Expo Big Data Silo to preserve all the history and data spanning 180 years of World Expo. There will also be an ODA memorial hall to tell the tales of human solidarity, of our commitment to caring and sharing. Distinguished delegates, our ambition is to make this site a place for harmony of nature, humanity, and technology, where problems find solutions to shape a new and better future for all. Thank you.
Good morning. The time now is 6 a.m. 30th May 2030, and the weather is perfect for your trip to Busan. Make sure you get to the airport on time.
This is a shakedown. Order up that beat just like it's takeout. Show me you got soul inside those new shoes, and you can rock and roll with an attitude. So good, so fresh, just the way you like it. Just the way you like it. So good, so fresh, the way you like it. Just the way you like it. So good, so fresh. Yeah, you like it, the way you like it. Oh, yeah, you like it, the way you like it. So good, so fresh. Get up on your feet, this is a shakedown.
Good afternoon. Did you know that over 250 million children worldwide lack access to education? 70% of 10-year-olds cannot read basic text, a huge increase from 57% before the pandemic. I am Suin Lee, the co-founder and CEO of Enuma, an education technology company creating digital learning software for children. Our journey began when, as game developers and designers, my husband and I wanted to empower children with disabilities to learn independently. Our educational software, designed to make math and language learning enjoyable, turned out to be very popular among not only children with difficulties, but also those without. However, during our journey, we discovered that education barriers affect not just children with disabilities, but also those facing poverty. As we believed every child should experience the joy of learning, this reality compelled us to take action. We Koreans have always believed in education's power to shape our future. Even during the war, our parents prioritized building schools and printing textbooks. Education was Korea's path to growth and recovery. We received support from the Korean government to develop a program teaching children in developing nations how to read, write, and do math, even without a teacher. Gratefully, our program became a co-winner at the Global Learning X Prize competition for our efforts to eliminate illiteracy. Since 2020, with the aid of Korean government, we have provided this program to children in developing countries. Distinguished guests, our innovation is just a small win against colossal challenges. To overcome these obstacles, we must unite our efforts, governments, businesses, and entrepreneurs, with our shared love for humanity. This is exactly what Korea's Busan initiative is about. Through the initiative, our government is already engaging in various global challenges, sharing our green technologies to combat the climate crisis, implementing IT innovations to enhance the global digital environment. We also have healthcare programs supporting mothers, newborns, and children, and agricultural development programs addressing the food crisis. Our businesses are sharing their expertise too, bridging the digital divide, restoring forests, and implementing rainwater collection system in vulnerable regions. Ultimately, our vision for World Expo 2030 Busan is to find solutions to address humanity's most pressing challenges together. Collaboration across the borders is crucial, as no individual, business, or nation can solve these problems alone. I sincerely hope that World Expo 2030 Busan becomes a symbol of global partnership. Together, let us help the future generation reach for the stars and unlock their boundless potential. Thank you.
지금 너와 나 맞잡은 손 사랑과 용기를 모아 모두의 꿈을 향해 희망의 돛을 올리자 춤추는 산자랑 꽃피게 보다 세계로 열린
Mr. President, Mr. Secretary General, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to present Korea's promise for the citizens of the world and future generations at today's 172nd BIE General Assembly. I highly commend the BIE's leadership. Since its founding in 1928, the BIE has greatly contributed to the world's economic growth through free trade. The World Expos played a crucial role in facilitating trade. They also helped to reach solutions for humanity's pressing crises and challenges. Their visions inspired us. But the world today is facing new uncertainties and complex crises like never before. The war and conflict, WMD, and terrorism not only threaten world peace, but even civilization itself. A digital divide and economic inequality endanger sustainable peace and growth of the international community. 2.9 billion people, or 37% of the world population, lack access to digital tools and the internet. Climate change is becoming an existential threat to humanity. Last year, the average global temperature rose 1.15 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial level. Over the past decade, the pace of sea level rise has more than doubled than the 1990s. More than 200 million people had to leave their homes due to extreme weather like torrential rains, heat waves, and droughts. The impact of climate, health, and food crises is critical for the global south. The global divide is widening. To address humanity's urgent challenges, we must act now. Busan is a gateway to the Eurasian continent. It is a maritime city reaching the oceans. It is a city of adventure, a city of the future. The World Expo Busan will be a solutions platform addressing humanity's complex and urgent challenges. The Busan Expo will be a venue creating new business opportunities. Korea's state-of-the-art digital technology will provide a fantastic stage for exchange. The war 70 years ago once turned Korea to ruin. But thanks to the help of the international community, Korea transformed itself into an economic powerhouse full of high-tech industry and innovative technologies. Korea wishes to give back to the international community what it has received thus far. Korea is fulfilling 1,258 ODA projects with member states of the BIE. Through the Busan Initiative, Korea will share its development experiences with the international community. Korea will lead in tackling humanity's challenges. Furthermore, the World Expo Busan will be a cultural expo. Cultural diversity will be respected. Everyone will be equally treated. It will be an expo where every nation can freely express its unique culture, tradition, and skill. Korea is committed to providing the largest ever assistance package for more than 110 member states that are participating. Also, the Busan Expo will be a platform of ideas for future generations. We must pass on a clean and safe earth and a sustainable peace and prosperity to future generations. We need to build a world full of bigger dreams and visions. Through the Busan Expo, the young generations of the world will learn how to work together as a community. Korea has already accumulated plenty of experience by hosting 2 specialized expos, the 1993 Daejeon Expo and the 2012 Yeosu Expo. Korea is also a country that has hosted mega events like the 1988 Summer Olympic and the 2002 FIFA World Cup and the 2018 Winter Olympics. Korea is a qualified candidate. Korea has been fully investing in preparing for the Busan Expo. We will make it the best World Expo of all time. Central and local governments, companies and citizens, all political parties, and more than 7.5 billion overseas Koreans are truly united in their wish for the Busan Expo. Ladies and gentlemen, the 1851 London Expo and the 1900 Paris Expo have each served to spread the British industrial revolution and the French art and culture to the world. The 1962 Seattle Expo has been a catalyst for opening a new space era. The 2000 Hanover Expo has helped economies and industries turn their focus from technology first to nature and environment. And the 2030 Busan Expo will be remembered as one shifting our priority from competition to solidarity. Busan is ready. We are united. Let's transform our world and navigate toward a better future. See you in Busan in 2030. Thank you.
So we've heard from all our participants, and the choice and the future of humanity remains with you. Do you think they have what it takes to really solve our problems? The choice is yours.
All right, that's all from the live coverage of South Korea's 4th presentation at the BIE General Assembly in its attempt to boost Busan's bid to host the 2030 World Expo. Now we turn back to Andrew. Andrew, we just saw the 4th presentation. How was it overall?
Well, I might sound biased, but I'm sold, definitely. I mean, it was a presidential speech, yes. I mean, we saw some of the other presentations too, and I'm not saying they're terribly bad or anything. They're very good too. But Korea really brought in their uniqueness, the storytelling, why they chose Psy. They also tied it in together. Things like they talked about official development assistance. They talked about how, yes, it's an expo, but they could also like help the world in this kind of regard. I think that kind of tying it in together, not just like, oh, it's good for Korea, but it's good for the world. Things like, they talked about floating island that could help island nations through, like, because of the sea level rise, that kind of stuff. They really tied it well together. And others did pretty well too, but they don't have all the components. Like other countries, they might not have K-pop, or they don't have the history of ODA, or even like how Korea was an ODA recipient, but now they are a donor. Yes, donor, things like that. These kind of stories, like even if other countries wanted to tell, they don't have that. So they really knew how to do this, and I think Korea is actually really very good at this.
Right, good to hear. Now, what would it mean for Busan? I don't want to jump to the conclusion, but what would it mean for Busan if it does get to hold the expo? I
think it'll be extremely significant. I mean, like you're Korean, we live in Seoul, and we kind of know. Korea is a great country, and they had efforts to, for example, change the capital city to Sejong, this kind of stuff, because we understand everything's kind of core or centered around Seoul. There's good things about that, but still you should, diversify, regional development, all that. So in that regard, Busan was, it's still a metropolis, but sometimes I feel it's kind of left behind a little bit of stagnation, one could say. Still a great city, great businesses and ports and all that, but then this is a great opportunity, because it's not Seoul, but it's Busan, and they have a lot to offer as well. One of the biggest things I'm actually looking for in terms of their benefit, yes, economics, the usual stuff, but it's the innovation, the tech. You probably saw the video, things like it's for them to showcase that to the world. They mentioned things like urban air mobility, or UAM, so they could, for example, maybe ferry some of the people from the airport directly to the venue through a eVTOL or a urban air mobility kind of thing. And what's really cool is they'll introduce a lot of these cool tech, or for example, like the metaverse. They also mentioned that too, when they, maybe there's some vulnerable people who cannot actually physically make it. Maybe they're bedridden, but they could make it by creating an avatar, going online, and still try to participate. I think these kind of things will really come into fruition. But one of my biggest things is, if you looked at maybe like other expos, sometimes it could be mostly just for show. The government might pay a company and they make it look good, but that's it. But what I feel is Busan or Korea, because of the conglomerates and all that, they will do that stuff. They'll get the know-how, they'll learn, and they'll actually create into a product, maybe help the world actually have it sold to consumers, which will actually make a difference. I think this is an aspect that people may not have thought about.
Right. Let's have our fingers crossed to see the Busan World Expo bring about the innovation that you talked about. Right. This is all the questions I have. Thank you for your insights and for your time. I really appreciate it, Andrew.
Thank you for having me.
All right, that's all for our special coverage of South Korea's presentation to the BIE. Let's hope that the presentation went down well and leads to Busan being awarded the 2030 World Expo. Thank you for watching. Have a great night.